Hello, you're watching PC Jack, and welcome to TechFlashback, a PC gaming and hardware news live show focused on the bigger stories of the week. And boy, have we got a lot of big stories to go through, especially if you like to play games, because PC gamers are eating good this week. Absolutely. And I just realized I forgot to count in my lovely guest, Jerry, who is still seeming like he's still like knowing where he's at the moment. I think the only thing we've lost him too much there. But as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, Jerry, who will be go through all the stories with me this evening. And I think it's going to be a good one. So welcome to the stream, Jerry.
Hey, what up, everyone? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm glad to be back. This is a very good highlight of my week. So I like talking to PC Jack here.
And I like talking to Jerry as well, so it's a win-win for everyone. And yeah, it's been a very busy week, not just for gaming news and stuff like that. But before we get into it, obviously, like we do like to warm ourselves up a bit and chat about the goings on with the channels and whatnot. So, Jerry, how's it been going over on your end? You've been busy working on projects?
Yeah. Actually, my YouTube, I've been getting a little bit more comments. I feel like I've been getting more community. People have been joining my Discord more and asking me more stuff. As I'm sure you know, because well, congratulations on your 1,000 subs.
Thank you. Means a lot. It was a trek, if it's to say the least, to get there. But no, I'm quite happy with how it turned out, and
Yeah.
I'm really excited about the giveaway that I'm going to plug again on this stream. As the video went up yesterday, plug in the stream, not the stream, the actual giveaway itself. So if you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to be giving away a. Oh, don't want to hear that. Giving away a mechanical keyboard, and the one that is going to be given away looks a bit flickery in the video, but it's only because the the shutter speed on my camera looks a bit strange. But anyway, that keyboard will be getting given away, and all you have to do to enter is actually just join the PC Jack Discord and submit a picture of your setup for a upcoming video, which I'll be going through and rating the Discord users' setups. So I thought it'd be pretty cool. And yeah, so I just wanted to give back to the community to mark the occasion. And I thought, what better way to do it than to give people free stuff? So I thought it'd be pretty cool. But we've got a couple of people that have been entering so far, and there's a lot of interesting setups so far. I don't know if you've had a little look at them already, Jerry.
Yeah, I gave a little look at them. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that people are joining in and doing that. There's some people that said they just have a laptop. Uh, I don't know why you would enter for a keyboard if you don't have a computer. Like someone said they don't have a keyboard or laptop or.
Well, at least you can plug a laptop in, I suppose, and not a laptop. Yeah, you can plug a keyboard into your laptop if you want to use a better one, I suppose. But,
I was gonna say maybe if you have like a Xbox a Series X or a PS5, just take a picture of that because you can use keyboard and mouse on those.
that's true. Yeah, I suppose. Like, I should have been a little less targeted if I say, because I meant to say like rate your setup. So rate your setup doesn't really like pertain to just a PC. Like it could be like a full blown like console like setup for a stream, whatever stuff like that. I probably have to change the channel name on the Discord to be a little less specific. We'd have some people calling out saying, "Oh, but a phone is a PC." It's like, is it though? You know?
Can you plug a keyboard into it? I guess is is the. I guess that's what should be the rules. If you can plug a keyboard and use it, then you should be able to use that.
Well, I said I'd be the judge of that anyway, but we got a lot of interesting entries at the moment, and it's not just the best setup wins, it's going to be random selection as well, so anyone has a chance, and it is international. So it ends on the 27th of June at midnight British time, but I'm not aware it'll be anywhere else. It's specified all in the terms and conditions, and yeah, I know you mentioned, Jerry, you want to get involved, but obviously there may be a bit of a conflict of interest there anyway. I thought that might be a bit, but you should still put your setup on there. I'll just have to say, like, oh, Jerry is discredited from this actual contest, but we just want to see your setup anyway and include it in the video.
Yeah,
So
we'll
I
see.
definitely send on there anyway, but yeah, I'm quite looking forward to just doing the video and looking at everyone's setups and showing them off, to be honest. And it's a good way
Yeah.
to sort of build up the Discord a little bit as well, because it's been quite an influx of people who definitely want a keyboard. I can tell that much. But
Yeah.
it seems like people
Yeah.
are getting along and chatting with one another, which is obviously the main thing. And it's just all I really want to get out of it is just a chance to give back to everyone. So I think it's going to be a good way to do it and celebrate the occasion. But yeah, I know we did say we're going to try and do like a like co-stream, like playing something. And now Linux is trying to throw a spanner in the works, but there, to say the least. So I don't know what we could play, but obviously I wouldn't be able to do tonight. But I reckon some night, maybe like in the next couple of days, we should try and do something. But it needs to be Linux compatible. I don't know what.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anti-cheat. Does Halo Infinite have Linux compatibility at the moment? I'm not too sure.
I'm not too sure either. It is on Steam, so it might have Linux.
Let's have a look.
On there.
CS:GO I know definitely works. I don't know if you've got CS:GO. We could go for that perhaps.
I don't got CS:GO, but you know,
No.
if you want, we could see how that would go.
Well, we'll have a think about it. We'll see if we can plan something out. But yeah, besides that, obviously the Summer of Linux series kicked off on Friday and seems to be getting pretty well received. And I was really happy with one of the responses on the video, because I did mention in the video that if I made a mistake, which I definitely already have in the very first part, I would say, or if anyone else is struggling as well, to not just blast them in the comments, be like, oh yeah, you should know how to do this. It's all really simple. All you have to do is go in the command line and type this, blah, blah, blah. Help people out, which is the main thing, because transferring to Linux is a bit of a daunting task anyway. So one of the comments from, I can't remember who it was now, but you can see it on there if you do check out the video. It was someone who was giving a lot of useful information for going over to Linux and the tips for getting the most out of it. And it seemed like they knew a lot about what they were talking about and weren't bashing people for not knowing what they're doing, which is all I want to get out of this series, is that people will talk about Linux a bit more and not try and discredit someone for just trying to have a go, which is the most important thing with not just Linux, but any sort of OS-related task where you're trying to get used to things and see how things work. But yeah, part 2 will be in the next couple of weeks, I would guess, something like that. But yeah, part 2 will be on productivity, which I do already have a lot to say about, especially after we had an interesting time streaming last week, didn't we? With well, actually no, we had an interesting time streaming last week for other reasons.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. The live chat was fun.
Oh yeah, but then we had issues with OBS, like opening like a new instance in Linux. So I had 2 OBSs open, and I couldn't tell which one was like working or not, but we figured it out in the end. And then we also had an interesting bot show up and promising things that I don't quite think were legitimate, but hopefully that bot doesn't turn up again in this stream anyway. But
I want to see that bot set up.
I know you want to see the bot. You'll be right there.
Go show your setup and enter for the keyboard bot.
That'd be interesting to see. Call them out on it. But yeah, it's been a very busy couple of days anyway. But you got anything to plug for the rest of this week, Jerry? Any videos you got lined up?
I guess what I could say is I got a big card coming out on Friday.
A big card.
Yeah, it's the only clue I'll give.
Okay, I'll take that and roll with it. I'll keep an eye out for that when it comes out. But
probably the biggest card that I've used.
Okay, right. Are we talking big as in like big, like when you look at the SKU, or like you mean like it's big? It's a thick boy. You mean? It's a baby boy.
We'll
Yeah,
out.
It's a baby boy
think
GPU.
Both. I think both. So yeah, so that's, you know, I think there's probably like 2 or 3 options you could probably think of.
Okay. We'll wait and see then. So how about, because we've got so much to get through, we get into our first story for this evening.
Alright, I'm done with that.
And obviously, as a lot of you may have been aware, there was an absolute influx of gaming news over the weekend. And that was starting off with the Summer Games Fest, which was hosted by Jeff Keighley. And I believe both myself and Jerry watched it live at the time. And it was an interesting start to the weekend and week of announcements. It was a bit long, I want to say the least, I thought. I don't know if that was just me. There was a lot of filler content, I felt. But the couple of highlights we did want to take a look at, if we take a look in this article over here. So one of the big ones I did want to take a look at, if it's included in here. Let's take a little look. Okay, oh, it doesn't have the actual gameplay video in here anyway, but it was a very long video. Was the actual gameplay for Modern Warfare 2. Now, Jerry can speak to this one because obviously he is really into Call of Duty. But from what I saw, obviously what they shown was campaign footage, I'm expecting. Well, yeah, it was. It was campaign footage. And it looked pretty good, but what was your opinion on it as someone who's more well-versed in Call of Duty?
It was reminiscent to an older map on either Modern Warfare, one of the older Call of Duty games. You're on a boat, same thing as raining. But what I liked about this one is the lighting looked pretty crazy, and especially in indoor environments.
Does it? Do you know if it features RT?
I would assume so. I don't know if that demo did or not, but I mean, it has to have ray tracing. Call of Duty is usually more geared towards NVIDIA, so.
Well, I think they have it in Vanguard, so that's why I'm assuming it's probably going to be in this anyway. But if, for those of you who aren't aware, so basically it says here, developed as a sequel to the 2019 reboot of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. See, this is where I was getting confused. I wasn't sure how it was Modern Warfare 2, so I thought there would have been like multiple Modern Warfare, so I wasn't too sure. The upcoming first-person shooter Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 will be the 19th entry in the Call of Duty franchise. 19th, that's crazy to think about. I remember my very first Call of Duty being Call of Duty 3, and I'm pretty sure that was actually the third game. So I may be dating myself a little bit. And it's planned to be released on... What's that?
It was like Big Red something, or...
I can't remember. I think it was one of the first ones on PlayStation 3, perhaps. I'm not 100% sure. In this presentation, a new trailer was released that showed almost 10 minutes of gameplay from a new level called Dark Water, which takes place on a large cargo ship. It doesn't include the actual thing on there. But yeah, it was a pretty good gameplay reveal, I thought, anyway. And as someone who doesn't play that type of game, it did look really good, what they were showing off. And obviously, they've got a lot of characters that are returning from, like, previously in the franchise. I can't name them all off the top of my head, but I know Soap McTavish. Is that one?
Soap McTavish.
There, I got a name. We got there. But the actual gameplay itself looked pretty good, I thought. What was your opinion on it overall, anyway, Jerry?
It looked like a new Call of Duty, which, you know, if you like Call of Duty, that's a good thing, because it looked updated. The graphics looked nice. The water in some parts didn't look too great, but in some parts it looked nice. Again, this is like a pre-alpha as well, so it's kind of hard to judge it on that. But it looks polished, and it's supposed to be a 2-year cycle, so this is pretty much the game you're gonna get for the next 2 years, which I'm happy for.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up, the fact that after the gameplay, they actually had 2 of the developers for the game come on stage, and they were interviewed, and they seemed really excited about the actual change now going over to Steam. So I wasn't quite aware of this, but obviously was Call of Duty exclusive to a different launcher or platform? I wasn't quite aware of that.
I would assume just it was on Blizzard.net. You know,
that's probably what it is then. So they seem quite keen on like the change over to Steam, obviously, because a lot more people are going to buy it on Steam, I would guess. Anyway, but obviously, like that's a whole new like platform they can target now, and they did seem really excited about like this sort of like less like segmentation in the series by having these like 2-year cycles, like you were talking about. So that obviously does give them time to like put more like focus into the existing titles rather than like moving on to the next big project, I would assume. But of course, the one thing they will be focusing on as well is Warzone 2.0, I believe they called it. So, is that like their main focus when it comes to online multiplayer, or is there like a multiplayer like asset to the main campaign games? Like what ones do you play?
The Modern Warfare 2 is gonna have multiplayer, like player versus player, like team deathmatch, squad based maps. And then the Warzone 2 is going to be the Battle Royale. You know, you in a squad against multiple squads or 150 people. I like both. It just depends what kind of mood I'm in. Sometimes I don't like playing Warzone because I just get murdered for like 2 hours straight, and it's just like, all right, I didn't accomplish anything.
Okay.
Yeah, it's sometimes you have those days.
But Warzone is like Battle Royale only, is it?
Yeah, and it's
right.
Free.
Okay. So it's cool that they'll try and like keep that like like sort of aspect of Call of Duty going as well by continuing to develop Warzone alongside Modern Warfare 2. So it does seem like even though they're going to have a bit more of a gap between titles now, there's still going to be a lot of work going into these and just stuff for Call of Duty fans to get their hands into, which is really cool. So what are you thinking on that one, Jerry? You think that's a day one purchase for you?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy it soon, just cause so I can play the beta. Oh, and another thing that they're setting a standard with now is that all Call of Duty games are gonna be $70. Like before, it was like the cross-platform or the PS4, PS5 version was $70, regular was 60. Now they're just straight up doing $70. So when it comes to Call of Duty, they're pretty good at milking money out of the games, which is good and bad. Since they're going on that 2-year cycle, their battle passes, their season passes are pretty good, and it makes you enjoy the game for a while. So I'm actually looking forward to that. But at the same time, it just sucks because sometimes you feel like they just want money.
Well, they are a business at the end of the day, so of course they're going to try and make money, but there's making money and then there's like milking your fan base. So there's a very fine line you can walk on, but there has been a lot of discussion when it comes to pricing for games lately, because a lot more are targeting that $70 or £70 like price range. One of the ones we are going to get into later on, of course, is going to be the big reveal of The Last of Us Part 2, no, not Part 2, The Last of Us Part 1, which is a remake of the remaster. Sure, it sounds a bit strange to say, but that is going for $70, which is a bit... I'm not 100% sure on that, unless it offers a lot of interesting features over the original. But we'll get into that when we get to The Last of Us later in the stream anyway. But what were one of the other main sort of reveals from... I've got to bring this one up. So, this really confused me. There was the reveal of Goat Simulator 3. No, there wasn't a second one. This was what was really confusing me. I've never played Goat Simulator, but I was pretty sure there was never like what's it called, a sequel. So like I was a bit confused by that. But yeah, and I thought it was gonna be Dead Island 2. That's obviously that was the point. They were like parodying Dead Island at that point. And then suddenly, like I saw Goats, like, yeah, right, I know exactly what this is. So yeah, there's going to be a sequel to Goat Simulator, as it says here. So years after the original Goat Simulator was released in 2014. Oh wow, it's quite a while since the first one then. Summer Games Fest announced that the series is finally continuing with the sequel Goat Simulator 3, which is scheduled to release in fall 2022. Despite what the title suggests, there hasn't been a Goat Simulator 2. I needed that clarification myself, so that's good. That's good to see. Parodying the Dead Island 2 trailer, the teaser showed that the sequel will be even more chaotic than the original, because now the game can have up to 4 players playing together. Okay, that's cool. So it's a multiplayer as well, multiplayer aspect of it. Taking place in a new location, San Angora, players will be able to explore the new area, customize their goat. Okay, uncover more secrets, and even reach an ending. Wow. Have you ever wanted to customize your goat, Jerry?
Yeah. That sounds like something I would like. I actually played the original on my phone a while ago, whenever that came out, and I deleted it like instantly.
What do you do in it? Like,
you just run around, jump on trampolines, jump on buildings, and you're just a goat. You're literally just, I don't know. It's just...
Goats don't bounce on trampolines. So...
Yeah. I would say, you know what? I think we found the game we can stream. We can co-op stream.
Maybe. Let's say it reminds me of like PC Building Simulator, that type of like appeal they could have for someone, perhaps. I don't know, but yeah, I was so confused. I was like, there wasn't a sequel, was there? Like, no, this is the sequel. It's so hardcore, it skips the second one. I was like, oh, okay, right, okay, that's fine. But yeah, so if you're into Goat Simulator, you're gonna be pleasantly surprised, I would say, and well, it's gonna come before Dead Island 2 at the least, anyway, because that trailer came out ages ago. But
Yeah,
I have no idea what's going on with that anyway. Piece of Us, welcome to the stream. Glad you stopped by. At least it's not pay to win anymore. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to with Call of Duty. Well, fingers crossed that is the case now. But I'm sure Jerry will be able to speak to that and confirm that is the case. But it's nice to have you on the stream. What was one of the other reveals we were taking a look at? This is the one that really piqued my interest. Like, I haven't really got too much to show from here, but there was some gameplay shown for the Callisto Protocol. Now, this is probably, since Starfield is not releasing this year, this has probably become one of my most hyped games now, to say the least. But if you're not familiar with the Callisto Protocol, it's basically a spiritual successor to Dead Space, and it is created by some of the original developers of Dead Space. And basically, there's a theme here. There's a lot of space horrors going on. But there's a bit of information on here now. So, referred to by Keighley as the Schofield Cut, this year's Summer Games Fest presented an extended trailer for the highly anticipated upcoming science fiction survival horror title The Callisto Protocol, which is scheduled to release on December 2nd. The game follows a young man named Jacob Lee who must escape a prison colony on Jupiter's moon, Callisto, because of a sudden alien invasion. The new trailer showed off some of the gruesome gameplay that truly demonstrated how dangerous the Black Iron prison colony can be. With this game being developed by Glenn Schofield, who is the co-creator of the Dead Space series, it's not surprising that the atmosphere and gameplay look extremely similar. So, I was pretty blown away with the actual gameplay shown for this, and I'm still in this sort of mindset where there's still only a handful of truly next-gen looking experiences, and this one I definitely think is one of them. And I gotta say, like, obviously, with it trying to follow in the footsteps of Dead Space, which we are getting a remake of Dead Space as well, which is kind of cool, which is going to be pretty close to when this comes out, is the fact that it's got some really hardcore looking game mechanics, and especially if you saw the a couple of the player deaths they shown off in the trailer, it was pretty brutal. That's probably even more of a reason why I shouldn't show the gameplay for that game in this stream, because I'm pretty sure if I did that, I'd probably get, well, not copyright strike, but like I'm trying to not make my streams too unfamily friendly, if that makes sense. So I probably wouldn't be a good idea to show those, but they were pretty brutal.
Yeah, you know, you talked about the Dead Space remake.
Mm-hmm.
I can't talk about it because of NDA, but it seems interesting. And
whoa! You can't say something like that because of an NDA.
Which means I could tell you off the stream. But
that's gonna call it. That's gonna be it for today's stream, everybody.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
And then what's it called? This game, it looks like pretty much a mod of a Dead Space. Well, obviously like with better graphics, but it looks like either a reskin or mod. So I was kind of I don't know. This was probably one of those games I'll get on sale too. I did play the original Dead Space 1 through 3. I think 2 probably being my favorite.
Okay, right. I've only really played bits of the first one, but I did really enjoy what I played so far. I did play a bit of it on stream a while ago, but I never finished it. But I do want to play that before the remake comes out. If it makes sense. I feel like you should do that prior to a remake anyway. But I'm excited for it. But like that's probably on like in my top 5 of like games I'm excited for the end of this year now, because well, obviously, like as we will look into later in the stream, my most anticipated game is not going to be this year, and it was going to come out the same week as my birthday, so that was my birthday week sorted. I would have been landed, but no, delays. But anyway,
now you got to go party in the real world. Terrible.
That sounds awful.
Hey, but with these games, seeing this game, I was like, these games would be perfect for like VR or like a headset, like with motion controls, because the movement isn't super fast. I mean, the enemies do move pretty quickly, but you know, it's more of a heavy feel. If you know what I'm saying? You have the stomp and the wild swings. So,
yeah, it's better that slow pace like it was with the latest Resident Evil games, I would say as well, where it's not quite as fast paced. And obviously, that is ideal for VR then. But
so I figured, you know, a game like this, maybe not this game, but you know, a game in this style. I when I was watching this trailer, I was like, this would be a nice VR game, because I feel like it wouldn't be too overwhelmed. Well, except for all the jump scares, the gore.
It would be too overwhelming, apart from all the zombies trying to murder you. You know.
But I think I don't know. Maybe one day, huh?
Maybe one day. We'll have to hold out on it, but hopefully it does turn out to be a pretty good title, especially if it doesn't get delayed like everything else this year. But anyway.
Yeah.
Was there much else that appealed to you from Summer Games Fest? Like I said, there was quite a lot of filler content. The only other one I thought looked quite cool was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, Shredder's Revenge. I thought it looked pretty interesting, especially if you liked Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in the day, which I'm sure if you grew up in the 90s, you definitely would have been.
Yeah.
Especially the weird live-action series. like on Fox Kids.
Weird.
It was a little weird.
That one was like the best. That was like the best one. The movie.
Yeah, there was a series and a movie as well, I think.
Okay.
Not talking about the Michael Bay ones. Like, is Megan Fox in those? I want to say she's in it.
I think so. I think, is she the main girl?
I'm not sure. She used to be in everything years ago, and now she's only just like in headlines with Machine Gun Kelly. But anyway, yeah, I thought that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game looked good. Of course, the last one was obviously The Last of Us 2 Part 1 remake. So I'm in this weird boat with this game, is that I would actually really like to play it again because I haven't got a PlayStation anymore, so I can't play it. So that'd be a good way to revisit it, but obviously, like, there is a lot of concern, especially with some backlash people had to the sequel. Now, it has been over 2 years, so I can kind of spoil stuff on stream if people want me to. But have you ever played The Last of Us, Jerry?
No, I wanted to, but those are just games I never got to playing. I heard they were pretty good.
So you're not familiar with the backlash for the sequel, then?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with the backlash.
Right. Okay.
I like, you know me, I like drama. It's
sounds about right. Well, I won't get into too much detail on it because obviously that is a topic that can go on for a very long time. But obviously, some people do have concerns that things could get retconned in this remake of Part 1, which is, in my opinion, is the better game. I did play the sequel and it was really good, but there was a lot of things I liked, but more things I disliked. But the one thing that is very interesting is the fact that they are bringing this to PC literally days after announcing Spider-Man is coming to PC. And those are two games I never would have thought would be on PC. I don't know if I'm alone in that thought, but I never would have thought I'd be playing those on my system. I find that crazy to think. They were a little, not apprehensive to say, but more like it's going to be released on PlayStation 5 in September. And PC like shortly after. They didn't go into too much specifics on it, so I don't know if they kind of glossed over that a little bit and it could get forgotten. I don't know. We're still waiting on a release date for Uncharted 4, which is a bit more strange because that was announced before God of War was announced, and that's already out. So I hope it's not a repeat of that, but I do think there would be one I would be interested in caving in for, but ideally not for $70, which is a bit more concerning. What do you think? Would you give it a shot?
Which one? Last of Us?
Yeah, that's it.
Probably. Like I said, it just depends if it goes on sale. You know me.
You love sales. That's the thing.
Well, it's not that I don't love the sales. It's just I know I'm never gonna play it, so I'd rather buy the game cheap and never play it than buy it full price and never play it. Maybe if I buy it full price, I'll play it because I'll be like, I have to play it. I have to play this.
Alright, Jerry, you're going to be very pleased. The Steam Summer Sale starts in 8 days, apparently. So
let's go.
You should be happy about that because you love your sales.
if you could only buy one of these new remastered, whether it be The Last of Us, Spider-Man, or Uncharted, which one would you buy if you were forced to only buy one?
I would probably say Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Spider-Man is really good, and I am looking forward to playing it again, because I did play it back when it first came out on PlayStation 4, and I believe I completed it. I may have nearly platinumed it, I'm not 100% sure, but I did play a lot of it. But The Last of Us is just one game that I really just want to play again, because I really love the story of it, and especially with the HBO series coming up, I'd be really interested to just revisit it, especially if it's obviously like at a higher visual fidelity and it's going to run better because it's on a PC rather than on a PlayStation 3, which is obviously going to be a very different experience. But and that is also one that my girlfriend wants to play as well because she's very excited for the series, mainly because Pedro Pascal is in the series. But anyway, that's besides the point. But
that's awesome.
But I'm looking forward to the series though, like cause it's going to be done by the people who did Chernobyl. If you saw that. That was a really good series. I
watched that in one go.
You watched all of Chernobyl in one sitting?
Yeah.
Well, wow. What did you think of that? Let's talk about Chernobyl for a bit, 'cause it's a really good series.
Well, if you want to know my setting, it was a little crazy. So, I had drove to Washington to move my stuff, to take my car, and then I flew back and got a U-Haul.
Okay.
So, on the way back, it was like an 18-hour drive. So I remember wanting to watch Chernobyl, so I was like, all right, I'm just gonna watch this show while while I drive to Washington, and it was New Year's, and I got to this part of it was probably around midnight, and I got to this desolated place. It was just super foggy. There was just clouds all around me, and there was snow on the side of the roads. And I remember at that moment the Chernobyl exploded, the nuclear reactor, and just
Okay.
a bunch of smoke, came out, and sirens were blaring. You know that part, like
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
yeah. And then I just look around me, and there was just like fog everywhere, but it looked like smoke. And then the sirens was blaring all crazy, and I was like, "Wow, this is kind of creepy." I'm like, "But the graphics are pretty good."
Okay, I can understand that.
I was like, it felt really immersive. It was a good show. I really liked it. It was a.
That sounds like an
I thought
interesting way to experience it as well.
it,
Stephen Eden, welcome to the stream. Chernobyl in one sitting is heavy. Yeah, I don't know if I could sit through that show in one sitting. That's it's pretty harrowing
yeah.
in parts. I don't know if I could go through all of it in one go, but either way, that is the people who created Chernobyl are the ones who are behind the Last of Us series, and I can see that lending pretty well, especially like with the sort of style of The Last of Us. So
I was gonna say,
interested to see that.
the part where because The Last of Us is a heavy game, right? Like,
Oh
there's
yeah,
some pretty
definitely.
crazy. Okay, the part where like that one of the firemen he had the radiation, and his girlfriend or wife couldn't see him because she would get infected, and
Of course,
she had
yeah.
to kissing him and she gets infected. Like I see like that plot that storytelling right there probably could fit The Last of Us pretty good, right? Like
Oh, definitely,
little.
yeah. I reckon it would really suit it on there. But it's more so if you've seen some of the behind the scenes pictures that have leaked, like obviously with like the overgrown plantation and stuff like that, it does really remind me of like Chernobyl. I know there wasn't like overgrown plantation sort of looks in like the thing, but obviously like the isolated, not the isolated, like the empty streets after everyone leaves. Not Chernobyl, but was it Kiev? Was the like the surrounding area, I believe, or Kiev, however you pronounce it. But I do really think that they've got the right people for this. But we'll soon have to see on that. But was there any other highlights we could think of from Summer Games Fest off the top of your head, Jerry?
Yeah, there was two. There's a game called Routine, and a game called
That's it, yeah.
Witchcraft. And that Routine one actually is my sleeper. If just by looking at the trailer, just by, I wasn't expecting
Okay.
that game at all, and just the gameplay of it looked like it's pretty fun and it'd be pretty interesting.
So the one thing I was quite interested on that because they said it was Mick Gordon was going to be doing the soundtrack, and obviously Mick Gordon is the guy who did the soundtrack for Doom. So that'd be pretty cool. But there wasn't any Mick Gordon music in the trailer, which I thought was a bit strange because they did like specifically call him out on that. But that looked pretty interesting, and that's been in development for like apparently 10 years. I didn't realize that. It was actually in development hell for quite some time. But definitely that would be one I'd be interested to see.
That's the first I heard of it, and like I said, it caught me completely off guard. I was like, wow, this game looks it looks polished, it looks smooth, it looks immersive.
I definitely like to see more of it anyway, but that's like one of the other like space horror games we're like dealing with.
Yeah, I thought it looked better than the Calypso one, if we're being honest. That one caught my attention more.
Oh, okay. Well, I definitely want to keep an eye out for that if we do get any more pop-up regarding that game anyway. The only other one then would have been that Fort Solace with Roger Clark, who played Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2, and Troy Baker from Last of Us. Well, Troy Baker is in every single game anyway, but that's another space game. I can't remember too much of the details from that, but those are kind of the highlights, I would say, from Summer Games Fest, but the rest of it was pretty much, I don't know. No, I say a bit filler. There's a couple of indie titles, and I'm not going to diss on indie developers because obviously, like, they do put a lot of work into their craft. But they're ones that were really like at the top of my agenda, to say the least. But yeah, that was about the best ones I thought from there. Just catching up on the chat now. So apparently, Piece of Us drove you to that U-Haul. You lied, Jerry. You didn't drive to the U-Haul, was?
No, I drove the U-Haul. He drove me to
Oh.
go pick up the U-Haul.
That's what it was, right? Okay. Oh, okay. Piece of Us should have been a bit more specific, but there. And also, Just Chance stopping in. Yellow. Thanks for stopping in, Just Chance. Hope you're enjoying yourself this evening. I'm gonna call out Just Chance as being the very first entrant in the first ever PC Jack giveaway. His setup is looking, I want to say, just top class right now, and he's definitely like taking my pick for one of my favorite setups from there. Of course, it's not best setup wins the keyboard. It is going to be random selection, but I definitely say that he's got one of the best setups I've seen on there so far. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. I hope you're having a good evening. Shall we move on to the Xbox and Bethesda showcase now?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it. This was the one that appealed to me a little bit more for some reasons. You know, I've been fairly like reserved on my opinions when it comes to Bethesda. You know. But let's start off with this one. So, one of the first things they shown in... what's that?
I said it's kind of funny, you know, you have your opinions reserved and there's a Fallout framed picture behind you.
I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so one of the first titles they shown off was actually one that is one that people have been eagerly awaiting, and I've been interested in this one because I've just started playing it recently, but that is the trailer for Hollow Knight Silksong, and apparently it has kind of become like a meme at this point that this game is just never going to get a release date. But yeah, so this is developed by Team Cherry, and the actual game itself looks pretty cool so far. And I did mention on the Discord that I started playing it again the other day. It's a pretty challenging game. It's quite strange. I wouldn't expect it to be as difficult as it is. But I'm enjoying it so far, so I am quite curious to see how good the sequel is going to be as well. And from this gameplay itself, like, it looks like pretty cool if you are interested in that sort of like Metroidvania type game. But yeah, they've been very quiet on actually giving us a release date for this. Now, there is supposedly going to be a Nintendo Direct later this month, if the rumor is true. And potentially they could reveal some more information there. But as you'll see from like the end of this gameplay clip, they just say coming... I don't even say it's coming soon, to say the least. But they did say... I should probably preface this. They did say for all the games shown at the Xbox Bethesda showcase was that they would all be coming out within the next 12 months. So at least that gives you a little bit of a time frame. And yeah, as you see, it doesn't give you actual release date on there. But that's one I'm quite interested to try out, especially if I get on pretty well with the original. Don't know if that's one that would be up your street, Jerry. How do you feel about those types of like indie titles?
I was gonna ask you, do you have the Game Pass? The Xbox Game Pass?
I used to a while back. I used it to play The Outer Worlds when that first came out. I think that was when Game Pass first came about. But I did cancel it because I wasn't making the most of it. And the library wasn't as extensive as it is now. And also, I wasn't very keen on the actual Microsoft Store for managing my installs, which is a bit annoying. If I had an Xbox, though, I probably would be on it like completely. Like, it seems like such a good deal nowadays. It's probably better for PC as it is now anyway. But back when I first on it, it wasn't as good of a selection, I would say.
It says it's going to be a day one Xbox game, so on the Game Pass. So yeah, I'll check it out. I'll try it. Why not?
That was the cool thing, though. They did say most of these titles are all day one Game Pass,
oh, yeah.
which is crazy to think about. I'm just going to grab... I've had a beer delivery. I'm going to fetch it right now.
Okay, that's fine. I'll go ahead and read it. What up, everybody? He's back. Let's see. Just Chan said more setups are always good. Ideas to make your setup better. That's true. Or, you know, not only make your setup better, but just make your whole life better. Because you could see lighting or something, or you could even see a chair or desk that you like, and a layout, and you didn't think of it, and you see someone else do it, and you put your own little twist.
It's good inspiration for everyone, I think.
Yeah, feng shui is very important. My office is a mess right now.
Oh yeah, mine is like the cleanest it's been in quite a while. I'm quite happy with that. But Piece of Us, you don't even have a setup. Well, you're gonna have to try and find something. You gotta put the effort in if you want to try and get this keyboard. You have to get in on it. But yeah, I'm excited to see more setups anyway.
He has PS5 and a TV. I mean, that's a setup.
That'll do. That's fine. I should probably amend. I'm gonna do it right now actually, because I'm probably gonna forget. I'm gonna change the title of that. Oh no, I might not want to do that because I think I've included that in the T's and C's. people will be able to figure it out. It's fine. But anyhow, what was one of the other titles that I thought would be interesting? There was the announcement of Overwatch 2. Well, not the announcement. I think they already announced it, but like, do they need an Overwatch 2? I thought that was the whole point of the first one, was that it was kind of like an ongoing thing. Is that a title you're familiar with?
I've never played it. I've heard of it. I mean, they're making Overwatch 2. They're making Apex Legends 2. They're making Warzone 2. Those were all free-to-play games, so I guess they gotta update the engines and stuff like that. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a title I'm that familiar with, to be honest, but I'm guessing maybe some people are excited for it, but I did see a lot of discourse. Yeah, if you play this game, let us know in the chat. But I'm not like massively versed in like Overwatch as it is, but a lot of people didn't seem to be that interested from what I saw online, as they were probably more than content with the original, I guess. But I could be wrong. I'd be misremembering something, but that was one of the other ones that came up from the showcase. What else did we have? Let's take a little look.
You know what's next?
Oh no, we'll leave that till last. No.
Okay. I was
right.
gonna ask you about Persona. I figured you're probably excited about that game. Were you interested in games like that?
I gotta be honest, I had never heard of Persona 5 before, or Persona in general, before that stream. Is that one you've played before?
No, I've never played it. It's just I don't know. You like these anime shade style games? And
yeah, I saw the thing pop up for it, but no, it's not really my kind of thing, I would say. But one I was slightly more interested in, and we did chat about this in last week's stream, I think. And that was this trailer for Diablo 4. I think it was more specifically for this like necromancer class, but obviously this is one you could probably speak to a lot more than I can. But I thought it looked pretty good. So what did you think of the Diablo reveal?
Are we gonna play any of the trailer, or are we just gonna talk about it?
The trailer is playing. There's obviously a bit of delay on your end, but
okay, for sure.
you'll see it pop up in a second.
I like the gameplay looks nice, especially with the swarm, like the PvE, the player versus enemy. I also like it's kind of weird because they say the necromancer is a new class, but that's like the original class, but they took it off in Diablo 3 and replaced it with the witch doctor. So you know. And there's gonna be 5 classes. I kind of wish there was more, because we've had 5 classes and then they usually add like 2 more in the expansion packs. It's like, well, let's start off with those 7 or 8 now and add on later. Like, let's not go backwards, let's go forward. But other than that, I feel like Diablo 4 is going to take up a lot of my time. I'm actually like, this is probably my most anticipated game I'm looking forward to.
I thought you were going to say that, but it seems like I really need to get onto the Diablo train. It's something I've never like got into myself. But I know they did the recent remaster, was it, of Diablo 2?
Diablo 2, yeah.
Is that correct? Would that be a good starting off point then, would you say?
Yeah, that it's a good game. It's
Or would you be really hardcore and say like, nah, go for the original Diablo, like the old school version?
I'd say just start. That's too old. At least with the Diablo 2, it's got the updated graphics, so it won't hurt the senses. And then, you know, Diablo 3 if it's cheap. But I actually have Diablo 3 and I haven't played that. I'm not gonna play it anymore. But I maxed out my character pretty crazy, and I don't want to grind no more. And I didn't have friends to play with either, so I just, you know, got off that. So Diablo 4 I'm definitely looking forward to, especially if it's coming to Game Pass.
I believe that was one of them that would be coming to Game Pass. It should pop up at the end of the trailer now to say. But I do really want to get into this. I feel like this is one of the games I need to play, but I feel like it's one that appeals to me. I think I'd probably suit the kind of games I like to play. But the
one thing that scared me on this was the tree, the class tree or the skill tree. It was huge. It was pretty wild. It's like it's just a lot. So it feels like if you choose the wrong step and you mess up your build, you just you just screwed up your whole life. And just
But
gotta
then,
start over.
but do these? I would assume these games have a decent sense of replayability, though. So I feel like if you did make that mistake, you'd either like resolve it later down the line, or be like, "Screw it, I'm just gonna start a new build." If that makes sense.
Yeah, sometimes like in Diablo 2, they had it where you could reset it 2 times
Okay,
and then like reallocate all your skills. And then in Diablo 3, I think people didn't like Diablo 3 as much on that part because the skills you could just swap back and forth.
right,
But
okay.
they really like the path tree of 2. And right now 4 it just looks insane. It looks like a Path of Exiles. That might be a good game for you to try too. It's free. It's like Diablo 2-esque.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that. But I do. As soon as this stream ends, I am going to like take a little peek at trying to get onto Diablo 2. I'd say as a starting off point, I might go for that, give it a go, and take it from there. And maybe I'll probably become obsessed with it, and then be like twitching,
Let
waiting
me
for
know.
Diablo 4.
I might buy it if you get it.
Well, remind me after.
would-
I'll have to take a look. But obviously,
That would
Piece of Us just mentioned about Path of Exile as well. So definitely, I've got a lot of choice, it seems, when it comes to Diablo. Sorry, it's a bit irrelevant, but I just had a little message pop up now, which I thought I'd bring up on stream, which I thought was pretty cool. And it's a message from YouTube saying that I am able to apply for the partner program, which I thought is pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
There we
yeah.
go. I will be looking into that after the stream as well, so good times. Things are
Go ahead
looking
and
up,
put that
Millhouse.
emoji. Everybody give a big shout out to PC Jack. Go ahead and put it in the chat below. Tell him congratulations. Cheers. I'll cheers to that. I don't know what side you're on, but
We'll figure it out. No, if I leave the glass right by there, we did this before and it worked out.
yeah, but I
There we
don't
go, right by there. That'll do. That's fine. Someone will screenshot that and share it somewhere.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
You're in the triple digits now, man. That's,
I know.
That must mean you're doing something right.
The goalpost is even higher, which is more terrifying to think about. But anyway, back to what we were talking about with Xbox. The other one that popped up, and this is another series I need to get into, but it's a bit more difficult for me because I'm not very interested in cars. But there was this reveal for Forza. Is it Forza or Forza? It's a bit weird the way you pronounce it. But
It's like pizza. Forza.
pizza, Forza. It's just like that.
It's
So
exactly
yeah, they had
the
the reveal for Forza Motorsport, and I'm guessing this is like an add-on for Forza 5, or I could be wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure. But the actual gameplay they've shown off looks really good, and the graphics look absolutely insane. And I have this thing with driving games. I just can't quite. I've never been that into cars, so that's why it doesn't appeal to me as much. But I did try and play one of the recent Dirt games in VR, and I had a terrible time playing it because I couldn't figure out how to switch sides in the car, because I was in the left-hand side, which would be right-hand drive, I believe. Yeah, it'd be right-hand drive, like, that's what it is in America, isn't it?
left hand.
Left... I can't think what it is now. But anyway, I was in the wrong side of the car, which is really disorientating if you're used to driving on the other side of the car. So I was crashing into everything and flipping in VR, and it was not a very fun time.
In the Forza games, if it's like a Japanese car, it'll be right-hand drive. If it's an American car, it'll be left-hand drive. So it just goes by the actual type of car in those games.
But I would have thought in VR you'd just be given the choice, or are they going to be that particular? Be like, no, you have to be in this side of the car. I guess I'm not 100% sure. But well,
Forza, I believe so.
I think Just Chance is very excited about Forza. He said,
Oh yeah.
Forza. I'm assuming that means he likes it. Okay, and he said it's a separate game. That's very well. Thanks for the clarification on that. So I was actually contemplating trying Forza 5, just to like see what happens. Again, that is a Game Pass title, so maybe I could give it a go on there. Little upfront investment on it.
Let's say if you do want to try one, with the Game Pass, I would just recommend the Horizon 5. The Horizon is the open world.
Okay.
The driving is not as tight, but I mean I don't think you'll mind it too much. On this one, this is more of a simulator, the motorsports on a track, and the Horizon 5 is an open world, and you get to choose your races, and you get to choose like if you want off-road races, like dirt races, street races, circuit races. stuff like that. And it's in Mexico.
Does it get really hardcore in like the sense that you can choose like if you're driving like automatic or manual, and you have to actually like shift up a gear in game?
Yeah, you can choose either or. It's just up to you, whatever preference you like. And then you also can modify your cars. It goes by classes. Like A class is like a certain amount of horsepower and stuff like that. B class, S class. You can swap motors in it. You can put different springs on it and stuff, so it affects the tuning of the car. If you want a rally car, you can put like rally springs on it, so it's more softer, more bouncy. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a fun game. I'd probably recommend that. I mean, the Forza Motorsports are fun too, but like those are more realistic. That actually has like car damage, so they crash into you and stuff. It affects your handling and stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I feel it'd be one I'd much rather play if I had like a full-on like racing sim setup. So if I had like a steering wheel, pedals, and stuff like that. Because yeah, keyboard and mouse is probably a no-go for a racing game. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, no,
but then controllers are your next bet on that then. But I feel it'd be much better if it was with like an actual wheel. So maybe something to think about. But and they obviously had the they got a trailer for it here. Actually, I can play that as well. Was oh no, I can't get it from there. But anyway, they had the Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels expansion, which I thought seemed pretty interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, on Horizon 4 they had the Hot Wheels expansion and the Legos expansion. So you had a Lego world and the Hot Wheel world.
I've got it here now. Here we go. So this is the trailer they've got for the Hot Wheels expansion. Could be pretty interesting then, I would suppose. It's well, especially if you love Hot Wheels as a kid, I think it's even better for you. But so this is, I think this is actually an add-on for Forza 5, so it's not as separate, I would suspect.
Yeah, that's the Horizon 5 expansion, the DLC, whatever they call it now.
Ah, right, I see. Well, it looks pretty wild, like just looking at the trailer on its own. But yeah, that was one of the other ones they shown off.
Yeah, the graphics are amazing. It's a very demanding game. Forza Motorsport, since it's more on the track, the graphics look even better on there because it's not rendering as much because it's not open world. You know, it's more of a stage.
Okay.
So the graphics are usually a lot better on there just because it's a lot easier to contain. You know, the environment. As you can see in Horizon, it's just open world-ish.
Is that one that you use for your bench suite?
Yeah, that's one of the ones I use, and it's very demanding. Horizon 4, the previous one, wasn't too bad, and this one it's tough to get good results on it.
Oh, well, that's alright then. But yeah, that series in general, I think I really do need to actually give it a shot at some point. But
yeah.
Besides that, like I'm saving this one till last. I know I'm just gonna go on about it for way too long. But one of the other ones I thought was pretty interesting was the reveal that Hideo Kojima is partnering with Xbox. So here we go. So Hideo Kojima, the developer best known for his work on the Metal Gear series, made an appearance during the event, noting that his studio is partnering with Xbox on a new game. Details are still slim for now, but one can't help but wonder if it has anything to do with leaked gameplay footage that Kojima asked a reporter to take down. Now, I won't go to that because I haven't actually looked at the leaked footage myself, so I don't know the legitimacy of it anyway. But yeah, so Hideo Kojima is working with Xbox on a title, which has left a lot of hardcore PlayStation fanboys very disgruntled after thinking he was only going to work with them on Death Stranding, which was exclusive for a while, and then it wasn't. But yeah, that's one I could be interested in seeing. They didn't show anything for it, but it's always nice to see Hideo Kojima just pop out of nowhere. He is the full-on embodiment of the human cutscene, but that was one I'd be interested to check out. But what were some of your highlights from the Xbox event?
Actually, on this topic right here, talking about PlayStation, like exclusives and whatnot, on the Diablo 4 at the end of it, it said coming to Xbox consoles and PC. I didn't see it say PlayStation, which I thought was pretty odd.
Is Diablo on PlayStation already?
Diablo 3 is on both consoles.
Oh, right, okay.
Probably the Switch. I'm not too sure. But and then on Diablo 4 too, they're gonna make it so like your progress on your Xbox carries onto your PC. On the Diablo 3, it wasn't like that; it was separate. But I'm actually surprised that it might not come to the PlayStation yet, which is a crazy move.
Steve, I'm still holding out on the prospect that they're trying to like persuade PlayStation to get in on this Game Pass action, because obviously, like, I think PlayStation has their own service similar, but it hasn't really picked up as much as Game Pass does, or has rather. So I feel like they're the same thing with like what they're going to be doing with Starfield, because Starfield's going to be a day one Game Pass title, and it's not going to be on PlayStation. But I feel they could be like, well, you can have it on PlayStation if you decide to support Game Pass on PlayStation, which would be an absolutely monumental move to see. I don't know if it'll happen, but it could be a potential thing. And obviously, like the Diablo in particular, that'd be another one that could be interested to see if that's the way they bring it out, is through Game Pass to PlayStation. So it could be worth keeping an eye out on. But having a look in the chat, Twana seems to be really excited about seeing what Kojima's working on. I feel like what Kojima comes out with is like extremely like niche, if that's the right word to use. It's like if you've played Death Stranding, like I've said on the stream before, I like Death Stranding, but it's really, it's like Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. So I feel like I'm really interested to see what they do go for with Kojima, and if it's anything like Death Stranding, I'll be happy enough as it is anyway. I nearly just spilled my beer, but we got there in the end. It's all safe. I'm staying away from the.
I don't think I've ever had a Guinness.
You've never had a Guinness before?
No, and I always wanted to try one, but I usually get an IPA when I see them.
Well, if I could pass it through the video call, you'd have a little sip of it.
Nah, it's fine. I don't want you to spill it.
It's pretty good. It brings out the Irish in me. When I say Irish in me, I mean there's very little, as in none. But anyway, Piece of Us said apparently 800 plus games. Are you referring to Xbox Game Pass or to PlayStation's service?
I think he's talking about PlayStation's membership service. I'm actually part Irish.
You're actually part Irish? Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
You look more Irish than I do.
This is even better then. I'm part American. Like I can put that out there, so that's all right. But that's as close as I get. Yeah, well, all right. We're gonna do it. So, I've held off how long we've been streaming for an hour. It's been an hour and I haven't said anything about it, but like we're gonna do it. Yep. The game I was the most excited to come out this year. I'm still a little heartbroken about it, but we had the gameplay reveal. Yes, it was for Minecraft. That's what it was. We actually had the gameplay reveal for Starfield, and I thought it was glorious. Not perfect, but I was still very excited to see something new come from Bethesda, who are already one of my favorite developers because I'm a bit of a Bethesda fanboy anyway. But from what they've shown, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to Starfield. And so they do show, this is the actual, this is the whole sequence they show, and I'll just leave it playing in the background. So they've shown the initial gameplay from the game itself, which included some of the sort of exploration and the actual gunplay itself. The gunplay I'm not too fussed on, I will come out with. It looked a little dicey, to say the least. But, so they showed some of that, and then they obviously went into a lot more of the actual, some of the actual story for the game, and then some of the actual mechanics of, like base building, and building your own ship, which I thought was really cool. And also the fact you can fly your ships, which seems like a really unprecedented thing to happen in a Bethesda game, where you can't even climb a ladder in a Bethesda game. I don't know if you've ever seen that before. But yeah, they had a lot to show off, and obviously it was the biggest focus of the whole showcase. But before we continue, because like I said, I can probably talk about this game infinitely based on what I saw from Sunday. What were your first impressions of Starfield and what they've shown off?
I think one of my favorite things I seen was when you're talking to the NPCs, and it has that zoomed in, first person look of their head.
Are you thinking of Oblivion? That type of thing?
No. Yeah, or like the Fallout games, when the dialogue options pop up and stuff when you talk to them.
Oh, right, okay,
yes.
Yes.
It has that trademark look, which you'll probably see it like 10 minutes into this thing. But it has that trademark look of Fallout games, of just talking, or Oblivion too, just talking to the characters with
See, I thought you were going to refer to like that, like overly zoomed in shot that they always did in Oblivion, where it was just full on focus on the character's face, like out of nowhere, and just like scare the absolute hell out of you, which did have a
Yeah,
little
that too.
bit. But yeah, obviously, like showing now in the gameplay clip, you can see like the actual like in-game sort of look, and including the HUD and stuff like that. So yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Jerry. So what else was it you came away with from that showcase?
And then when they were scrolling through the weapons, you know, you could go up, down, left, right on the D-pad. It just has more of that like Fallout Vegas style to me. I feel like the
That's
aim.
it, yeah.
So it's just the little bugs, like the little aliens you see. I think on the stream right now it's showing the robot. Like right now you'll probably see little.
There's a couple of them
bugs
just popped
running
up on
around.
here now, yeah. So they
Yeah.
do show off.
I,
Like there's this sequence with like the crabs that go past the player. That's
yeah. Yeah, I think I'm timed perfectly with your stream because I went a little ahead of what was on here. And yeah, so like those little bugs, they remind me of little rad roaches and stuff like that, like the little crabs too that you see running around. So it has that play style of Fallout, but obviously like in space, it has. You can tell they're cousins. I guess is what I'm
exactly,
saying.
yeah. So they could be even like it could be interesting if they are reusing some assets from Fallout, which I would be a little not annoyed by, but like it is a game from 7 years ago. You'd expect them to like have some more advanced assets to use from previous games. But anyway, it did look pretty cool from there. And it, like the main thing people are drawing from it, it looks a lot like No Man's Sky to a lot of people. And I can understand that, especially like they do like the sort of like the resource gathering, like I show it in the stream now. That's one of the main mechanics from No Man's Sky. But yeah, the other one I thought was pretty cool, and it's just about coming up now, is the fact that obviously as you get to this like it's like this combat encounter, it shows how like there's different like levels of like gravity depending on what planet you're on. And I think that's indicated in the HUD. I can't quite read it here because I'm a bit blind, so it doesn't really help. But it does mention something about like the sort of like gravitational pull on different planets, which I think is really cool. So you can find some planets you can like jump up like a foot, and some planets you can like just like yeet yourself across the map. I expect.
I was gonna ask you, what do you think? They said that there's gonna be over 1,000 planets. Is that is that a sound of alarm for you, or is that something that is making you happy?
I'm in two minds about it. There's the sort of thought that 1,000 planets is a lot of filler if you think about it, because 10 really well handcrafted planets would sound infinitely better than 1,000 planets. But then I do feel that a lot of this could be sort of procedurally generated, and the best way I sort of referenced was like what if you think about the Skyrim caves. Think of a random cave in Skyrim. Perhaps that's the way it is. So there was about 250 caves, I think, in Skyrim. And not every single one was like spectacular and had like the most going forward content-wise. It was obviously like procedurally generated, and then they added some sort of content to it. That could be the case for 1,000 planets. So I could see them sort of expanding in that way, I would suppose. But then also, Twanners brings up a really good response, is the mods. So 1,000 planets leaves an absolute ton of room for modders to jump in and add their own content, whether it be story-based or more gameplay-focused, if that makes sense. So I'm going to wait to see a bit more information when it comes to what those 1,000 planets will entail, or even if you can land on them. It could be the fact that maybe you can draw resources from them without landing on the planet, which could be a little bit of like a not a little white lie, to say the least, that there's 1,000 planets, but you might not be able to land on all of them, I suppose. But I'll have to wait and see on it.
Are you expecting to see a Tesla car in space, just floating around?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised, because this was a couple of years ago now. Todd Howard did it was some sort of event, maybe it could have been like QuakeCon or Gamescom, something along those lines, where he sat down to be interviewed along with Elon Musk. And so they could have some sort of partnership going on where there's like a Tesla truck in it, you never know. Like, I don't know if that was a thing. Could you get the Cybertruck in Cyberpunk? I don't think I ever saw it in there.
I don't believe so. Oh, look, they're gonna show the head, the first person I was like talking about when they talk to the characters in the stream.
Ah, that's it. Yeah. So
Always
there was some people that were a little concerned with the actual look of the NPCs. Like they do look a little like glossy-eyed, I suppose. But the actual like facial animations seem like vastly improved over Fallout 4. To use that as an example. Um, the graphics itself, I like obviously graphics don't make the game most of the time, but I do feel like the graphics are a pretty vast improvement for what you would normally expect from Bethesda. I don't know if I'm alone on that. Like, I feel like we're giving them a lot of credit for the graphics when like there's developers that are much more advanced in that regard, I suppose.
even the humans look a lot better.
I think so. I think the actual visual fidelity of the game, from what we saw, then again, it was like a 1080p 30 stream, which is never that great to look at. But from what we saw, I do feel like it had a decent like visual look to it anyway. But there's going to be people who are not going to be happy with it. There's a lot of discourse over a Bethesda game, like a lot of the time, regardless of what it is. And again, there's probably people still burnt out about Fallout 76, understandably so, even though it was done by a different in-house team, I believe. So it wasn't specifically Bethesda, but still, it's got that association, so some people would be burnt out on Fallout 76, I would guess, even though it is in a much better place now. But yeah, one of the things they're going to get to now is the fact that it's got a heavy focus on character customization as well. And I don't know if you saw, like, it's a bit like how it would have been for like older BGS titles with picking your own traits or like quirks when you create your character. And that's one of the things people really want, is these really hardcore like role-playing mechanics. And I believe one of them was like a sort of trait where you actually own property on like a moon or something along those lines, but you start off with like 50k debt, so you can literally have a mortgage when you start the game, which is pretty interesting if you want to have that sort of role-playing mechanic, I guess. Or even things like exactly, or you could be like you have parents in the game, but you have to pay them like pocket money or something along those lines. So if you are really interested in those really hardcore RPG mechanics, it looks like it's got it there in the game. But that was the one thing. Going back to the actual gunplay itself, what was your sort of thought on how that looked? Because it seemed a little lackluster from what we saw from the actual like first-person shooter aspect of the game.
It didn't seem too bad to me. Like I said, when I play the Fallout games, the shooting is already a little clunky as it is. And that's what it kind of... It actually seems a little smoother than Fallout shooting to me.
Okay.
I don't know how exactly to praise that, so I think it'll be fine. Yeah. What was the space game? The Outer Worlds? Was that the Bethesda game, or?
That was done by Obsidian, but they were the ones who did the original Fallout games. Well, no, it wasn't them, but it was like developers that worked on the original Fallout 1 and 2 games. Okay, and they also did Fallout New Vegas.
That was kind of like a spiritual successor, kind of, right? It felt a lot like a Fallout game.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
The shooting on there was actually pretty good.
Yeah, did you play Outer Worlds?
So, yeah, I played like 70% of it and never passed it.
Okay, yeah, so you know what we're talking about there, though. That's alright then, because I thought that was okay. I think of Outer Worlds a lot when I see Starfield, though. So I don't know if it's like Bethesda like missing the mark to get into that position for a title like that, but I don't know. I feel it's good.
The thing I didn't like about Outer Worlds is their planets didn't really seem like those much to do, and they all felt small. They didn't really.
I know exactly what you mean. It did feel a little limited in scope, which I would hope they would improve, because they are doing a sequel to the Outer Worlds, which I'm quite excited about. I'm just taking a look at the video now, so obviously it's cropping up with the actual like flying in space you can do, and the sort of like reminds me of sort of like Star Wars squadrons, yeah. So like you got like you can like have like space fights, which would be pretty interesting to see. There was a reporter, or maybe not a reporter, but someone that leaked from inside Bethesda saying that the actual flying at the moment is extremely clunky. This was a couple of months ago though, but they did try and make out the fact that if you are in space flying your ship, it is going to be a lot more of like a... It's not like you're in Top Gun Maverick where you're zipping around and stuff like that. It is like very slow paced and like very deliberate in the way that you move. So you're not exactly going to be like going crazy and doing any like crazy maneuvers I would expect. But I feel, along with the fact that you can create your own ship, you're going to have some insane like ship designs. Like someone's going to make the Millennium Falcon in this game, like no question, which would be
Yeah.
pretty interesting to see. So I can say I'm not into driving games, but I'll drive a ship. You know,
And you
we do
think they'll
that.
throw in a Master Chief cameo too in the background? Him and his little craft. He's apparently in a lot of. They're putting him in a lot of stuff right now. I don't know
What
if you saw
there's the
that.
Microsoft Flight Simulator add-on where you can get the ship from Halo, isn't it? I can't remember what it's called now. But that
Yeah,
was
and
one of
then
them.
go into space too. Yeah, and then they put him in Among Us and Fall Guys, I think.
Oh right, okay. Oh, I didn't realize that. I hadn't heard about the one for Four Guys Among Us. Oh, that's pretty interesting. So Master Chief is getting about, and
Yeah,
he's also getting laid as well. He's doing a lot of things lately that's going well for him.
yeah,
Things
yeah.
things
He's
are looking
living the
up for
life.
Master Chief.
He's living the
But
life.
yeah, and then of course, like we did mention earlier about the Thousand Planets, that is something they are saying is going to be okay. Like I don't want to get into too much of the Thousand Planets. I do feel like we're still like limited in the information we have. I feel like he just dropped that in there just to be like, oh, by the way, there's 1,000 planets, and then he left. It's like, okay,
You want to
well, we need
drop
a
the
bit more
bomb?
information, but we'll have to wait and see. But either way, from what I saw, I was extremely pleased. And I do feel like it's going to be... I was a little disappointed they didn't give a release date for it. But I do feel like it does take a little bit of pressure off them and ensures that they get this polished up as much as possible. Because in the gameplay, it did look like it was suffering from a couple of issues when it came to its FPS. Because it did seem to drop. I know the actual stream was 1080p 30, which doesn't really help. But
Yeah.
I do feel like they should have enough time now to at least give it a reasonable level of polish. And I do know that Bethesda games are particularly renowned for having its share of bugs. But I do feel that the bugs in a Bethesda game aren't... Usually they're not like detrimental to the experience. They kind of like... They're like a minor inconvenience. Or something really stupid. Like... You get like yeeted across the map or something stupid, I don't know.
Or run into an invisible wall.
Exactly, but
You're just
that's what you got console commands for. Then you can like you can toggle out of there, so it's totally fine. So there's a certain level of charm when it comes to Bethesda and its like bugginess sometimes. If it was like like if it was more concerning issues with performance, that's where it is going to be an issue. But I feel they got the time to get it right. And as excited as I was to play this end of this year, I do feel like it will be worth the wait. But based on like we pretty much just sat through the entire gameplay reveal in that one sitting, but there. Coming away from Starfield, is this like a game that you're cautiously optimistic for? Or is it one like you're getting on the hype train? You're sat there next to me, just ready to go for this one.
yeah, dude. I'll co-pilot your ship. Let's go. I mean, you've been hyped about it. It's coming on Game Pass, so whether I like it or not, I'm gonna play it. And
Exactly. You got no excuse then.
I can't wait for the Futurama DLC or mods. Gotta drive the Planet
Ah,
Express.
that would be so good. And you can get Zoidberg as like your like crewmate and like
Yeah.
that'd be so
Bender.
good.
Yeah, just have
Bender,
Bender
yeah. That's modders are going to be the absolute like saving grace of this game. Again, Twan just mentioned how modders will fix this. So if there are issues, like modders will be able to step in, especially when you got these unofficial patches for, like Fallout 4, Skyrim. They're always there to pick things up when they need to, and I have
Well,
no
there's
doubt
new
about it.
settlements.
Yes,
The movie
I did. There's so much to talk about this game. I'm trying to keep it within a limited scope for the stream, but yeah, there is actually base building in Starfield, so you can actually build your own sort of outposts when you're on different planets, which I think is pretty cool. And I'm excited for it, but I do hope that it doesn't like become integral to the plot. Like it did become a bit too like much of an aspect of the main story in Fallout 4, where you actually had to
I
start
actually
building
liked
stuff. I liked it as well, but there was a lot of people that didn't like it because they didn't want to have to do it as part of a mission, which I can understand about that. But like
Yeah, I get that.
man, I've spent so many hours building in Fallout 4. I've like it's probably most of the time I've played in Fallout 4 is just like working on settlements. Like I remember this was before when I played it on PS4 before, and there was an island you can make a settlement into, and you could get a mod for it as well, even on console. And then there was no, I got rid of the settlement limit, and absolutely covered that island like from head to toe in like buildings and structures and stuff like that. And that console was screaming, just from like managing to like load in everything and just like not like overheat and die. But yeah, that is still something I'm excited about when it comes to Starfield, is like the settlement aspect of it. How much more advanced it'll be compared to Fallout remains to be seen. But I'm excited for it. I think that could be another good, interesting way to play it, because as much as I sit here and say like the gunplay may look a little concerning at the moment, Bethesda hasn't really ever had like gunplay be their strongest point. It's always been that role-playing mechanic, and especially with stuff like base building, sort of like the like speech checks you can do in game, so you can rely on being more of a charismatic character. I do feel there's other ways to play in the game where you shouldn't be too concerned about combat, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that is definitely, it was my most hyped game of this year, but clearly I'm gonna have to wait a little longer. But hopefully, it should be worth the wait.
Sounds good to me, man. There's gonna be some settlements that need our help, huh?
That's right. They're gonna get Preston Garvey in on it as well. Someone's gonna put him in the game.
Like,
We know that for sure.
or
But
his nephew, or his great grandson. Son.
his great grandson or something like that. Yeah, definitely be that. But yeah, so that was basically the gist from the Xbox Bethesda showcase. And I won't touch too much on it from last night, but there was also the Capcom showcase. Now, I'm not sure if you caught much of this, Jerry. I missed the stream itself. I didn't see anything until I woke up first thing this morning. But I thought there was some interesting reveals and stuff I was excited about, particularly if you're a Resident Evil fan. So we see on here that they have now actually revealed some gameplay for the DLC in Resident Evil Village. And I think it's looking pretty good so far. Like they've got this like expansion where it's focusing on the main character's daughter as she's like, well, I say grown up. It's 16 years later, and there's a story-based DLC for that they're going to be showing, and also some other interesting things like they're going to be having a third-person mode for the main story, which I think is pretty cool. So it could be an interesting way of replaying that game, so I definitely would replay it. What are some of the other things they had? And then they've got this expansion for RE-verse. Is that something you're familiar with?
Oh, and then I was gonna say, aren't they like remaking? Are they relaunching like not a remaster, but like an updated version for the PC, the PS5, and the Series X?
Yes, that's correct. So that's on. If I try and take a look down here, here we go. So it's in a separate trailer on there. So they have been planning this for quite a while now, and that was they were going to do next gen updates for Resident Evil 7, 2, and 3 remake, and of course that will come on to PC as well, meaning that there'll be. I believe the updates they're going to be going for is mainly stuff like ray tracing. They are like drawing attention to stuff like 4K resolution and 120 hertz refresh rates, which are not really like brand new to PC, to say the least.
Yeah, but either way, still.
Definitely, like it sounds really strange, but when I had COVID earlier in the year, I sat through the entirety of Resident Evil Biohazard in the week that I was off work, and I had an absolute blast playing it because I played it when it first came out. But like,
You were the Biohazard.
I was the Biohazard, literally. I do remember I was I was playing this downstairs on my HTPC, and I was sat on the sofa playing it, and like my girlfriend was sat next to me, and we both had COVID at the same time. And there was a jump scare, and I absolutely bolted upright, like in my seat, and like did something or whatever. Scared her, and she had a coughing fit for about 10 minutes, and I thought I killed her. But that's just the way it goes if you play Resident Evil when you got COVID, you know. But
I thought you started screaming and just abandoned her. Every person on their own.
I just flew through the ceiling, you know, just like I got that scared. And then, of course,
I
they
think
did show some extended gameplay reveals for the Resident Evil 4 remake, which I do believe we talked a little bit about this on last week's stream. I'm just trying to skip ahead here because we did show some of it already. But yeah, so if you were a fan of Resident Evil 4 back in the day, they are going to be giving it the remake treatment like we've seen with 2 and 3. And like I was talking about this on the Discord earlier this morning, and I'm a bit more familiar when it comes with 7 and 8. But I was never that much into the originals back in the day. So I'm still in the process of replaying Resident Evil 2 Remake. But I'm excited to check out Resident Evil 4 if I do get around to finishing all of them. But like, this wasn't something I was aware of, but this is something you drew attention to last week, I believe, Jerry, is the fact that they've actually re-released Resident Evil 4 quite a lot. Which could be a little bit concerning, but it does look really good from what they're showing so far. So yeah, they showed a bit more of that last night as well, just to go along with that.
I was gonna say I saw on Resident Evil 7, the Biohazard, that for the Oculus Quest, the one I have, they made a mod for it so you can use the headset to play the game, obviously off the PC through the Steam VR, I think.
Oh, okay, because I know they had the VR version. Was it only on PlayStation
And
then?
PlayStation, yeah. And so I think they made a mod for it. So I think I'm gonna try that out if I can figure out how to do that. And I'll probably stream it.
That'd be pretty cool. I feel like I would be absolutely terrifying to go through.
Yeah,
But
I think so too, man. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it'd probably be pretty sketchy, but we'll find out.
you got to do it for the fans, you know. But
Yeah,
yeah, I was quite happy with some of the reveals from this Capcom one. Like we're gonna be seeing a lot more of it over the next couple of weeks now. Well, it's just June is crazy for game reveals anyway. I don't know what else is upcoming really, besides there's this Nintendo Direct that is rumored for the 29th of June, I believe. So I didn't really have much on the cards for Nintendo as it is, besides hopefully a release date for Hollow Knight Silksong, because they are getting like a bit of a heavy push as being like a console seller for Nintendo with that title. But we'll have to keep an eye out for that. We'll definitely cover that when it actually does come about. Because I know obviously like I play on a Switch from time to time myself, mainly just Hades because I'm just hooked on Hades. But I'd still be interested to see what they do actually reveal. But is there anything else lined up for the rest of the month that you can think off the top of your head, Jerry?
not right now. Just I guess we'll see when it comes out.
We'll have to wait and see how it goes.
Yeah.
So that was, yeah, basically the gist of like the gaming announcements that we wanted to cover on the show. Now, we did have a couple. Sorry, go on.
Sorry. So you guys go ahead and let us know what games you're looking forward to, or whether we missed one that you guys are looking forward to or something.
Yeah, exactly. Let us know in the chat because we are obviously interested to cover what you guys are interested in hearing about. So a lot of this stuff, like again, I just went on about Starfield for a very long time anyway. So that's me kind of like being a bit more self-indulgent, but we do want to cover stuff that you guys are interested in. So obviously let us know, and I will take this moment as well to plug the TechFlashback submission channel on the Discord. So if you've got anything you want to submit on there, whether it's news stories or questions for the show for either myself or Jerry, then feel free to do so. But yeah, we always want to make this a show that you guys enjoy, whether you're watching it live with us or if you are watching it as a VOD. All your support is obviously really appreciated, and make sure we cover everything that you want to see. Which I'm sure Jerry would agree with me on there. We want to make sure this is the best show for you guys possible, and that we cover everything that everyone wants to hear about.
I'm just trying to have fun.
Exactly, and have a bit of fun. It's a nice time to have have a little nearly midweek drink and hang out with my boy Jerry, you know. But anyway, we did have one. We did try to cover a little bit of hardware in this stream. I don't really have too much to say about this, but that is Microsoft are trying to kill hard drives for boot drives. So, if you weren't familiar with this, by now I would really hope that no one here is booting off a hard drive for anything like Windows 10 and up. Well, even for just like Windows 11. But let's take a look at this article. So, a recent executive brief from data storage industry analyst firm Trend Focus reports that OEMs have disclosed that Microsoft is pushing them to drop HDDs as the primary storage device in pre-built Windows 11 PCs and use SSDs instead, with the current deadlines for the switchover set for 2023. Thank God. Like, don't sell a pre-built without an SSD. That seems absolutely absurd at this point. Yeah. But interestingly, these actions from Microsoft come without any firm SSD requirement listed for Windows 11 PCs, and OEMs have pushed back on the deadlines. We reached out to Microsoft for comment on the matter, but the company says it has nothing to share on this topic at this time. So, funny enough, I was literally just about to look up the recommended specs for running Windows 11, because I did a video on how to enable TPM 2.0 for Windows 11, and it did actually mention about the specs in that, but that was quite some time ago now. So the specs for Windows 11, you need a processor that can support 1 gigahertz or more. Okay, I feel that's like basically any CPU within like the last like several years. But I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this is the same thing now, but they would put they said you wouldn't be able to upgrade if you were on, I want to say like Skylake or older, or Ryzen 2000 series, I believe. You wouldn't be able to use Windows. That might be different now, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, and then obviously on a 64-bit processor. So yeah, that's not exactly difficult to achieve. 4 gigabytes of RAM. Okay, that's pretty easy to achieve. And at least 64 gigabytes of storage space. Now, that storage space should be solid state. I don't know why it's like so... A couple of years ago, I would say like it is obviously a bit more like challenging to like fit an SSD into a budget, because they obviously were a lot more expensive previously. But I'm so shocked this has only just come about. Did you realize they were still selling pre-built laptops with only hard drives like as boot drives?
No, I didn't even realize they had that anymore. I'd like you said, I thought it was at least minimum SSD, maybe an NVMe. As I say, what, like minimum 500 gigabyte NVMe or something, or SSD.
Well, think about what just like a basic like SATA-free like SSD like can achieve. Even that is a huge like leap over just a general like SATA hard drive. So the fact that they weren't even including those is like crazy to me. And it's not as if SSDs are that expensive anymore. They are so affordable nowadays. The problem, I do believe this is like one of the things they mentioned on last week's WAN show on LTT, was this issue with OEMs like to see higher numbers. So would you prefer to see, as a consumer who knows nothing about computers, if you see a computer has, regardless of the type, a 250 gigabyte hard drive, not just SSD or hard drive, 250 gigabytes, or a 1 terabyte hard drive, you'll instantly think, you'll think the 1 terabyte one is the best one to go for. You should just go for that. But obviously, it's not taking into account the fact that it's the actual form of that storage itself. But the average consumer doesn't care about that. But I'll always say, if someone says, if they're not a gamer, that's fine. But if they just use a PC, an SSD is the biggest improvement you can make to any system. It just makes your system that much faster. So that's always the best recommendation. What was that?
Oh yeah, I said, it's a must-have. I don't know. The only reason I think to have a hard disk drive now is just if you want extra storage for like to store some videos or photos or documents, just random stuff that
well, it's only very recently I've gone I did have a 2 terabyte WD Black in my main system, and when I moved my case over to the Fractal Torrent Compact, I was going to try and put my mechanical drive in there, but due to the way the case is designed, the power supply shroud is at the top of the case, and in front of the power supply you can install just one mechanical drive. But I've got a Corsair RMX power supply, which is quite long, so I can't actually install a hard drive without it conflicting with the cables coming out of the power supply. So it was a pretty simple decision to be like, right, okay, I'm just going to go without a hard drive. And it's been okay. Besides that, I've got a single 250 gig boot drive and a two WD Blue SATA SSDs for storing my games, and one as a scratch disk for video editing. And that does the job perfectly for me. But it's crazy how affordable those are now. Like, I remember, this is not long, I bought one of them about 3 years ago for about £100. And now you can buy the same SSD for about £60. I'm not quite sure that like the like comparison to what it would be in dollars, but it'd be roughly in that sort of ballpark, I would guess. But it's crazy how cheap they are nowadays. So like,
even the NVMe's are now like $100. Well, $100, £100. You know, and that's cheap compared to how much they were then. You can even get some Gen 4x4s on sale for that price sometimes.
Twanas does mention on here though, hard drives are really reliable still, and you can't beat the price per capacity. But for a boot drive now, is terrible. It's exactly that. Now I'm not slamming on mechanical drives completely. Like a couple of feet away from me, I'm sitting next to my TrueNAS system, which has 16 terabytes of mechanical storage. But that's relying on total data storage that don't need like to be receiving instantaneously. So of course, for like, I'm not gonna say for enterprise, but that's not something I've been that involved in. But for like, if we're looking at networking, then of course, mechanical drives are superior in that regard. Unless you have a network that can fully saturate like extremely like high speed read and writes off an NVMe drive, which where I live I definitely can't get that over my network. So my 16 terabyte array is going to do the job just fine. And funny enough, I was thinking about I'm not sure if anyone is that familiar with the video I did on my TrueNAS last year, but I put it together in August now, so it's nearly a year since I built it. And unlike my other systems, was I only have my system turned on when I'm using it, or if I'm away for like maybe like an hour or two. But it goes off at the end of the night. I turn it off. This system has been on for 24/7 since last year, and it's fairly low maintenance because it's got a passive CPU cooler with the NHP1, which will reduce the dust buildup. But there are a couple of fans in there just to bring in like some like moderate amount of air. So it's been running for 24/7, and I do want to give it a clean. But I want to do a video where I'm literally like going to be like, oh, this literally, how does my build fare up after being turned on for an entire year, and how dusty is it? So that might be little plug for like a future video I'm thinking about, just to see how horrifically dirty it is. It doesn't look too bad from where I am now, but it does need a little bit of a clean. But yeah, get back to the topic at hand though. It is such a good thing that they're making this like policy now that they will be only using, well, not only using, but they'll be introducing SSDs as boot drives for Windows now. And yeah, I did just want to draw a bit of attention to that as like one of the rare like hardware stories we have for this evening's show. But I think that was about it for the actual news stories for this evening. Now, Jerry, I do believe you had a topic you wanted to cover in this just to close things out. So I'll roll it out to you on this one when it came to a discussion we wanted to look at in regards to iMessage. So what was it you wanted to chat about?
I just thought it was interesting that the iPhones are coming out with the ability to unsend messages through iMessage. And I was just kind of curious of how they were going to implement that. I wanted to see what you thought. Because I don't think they haven't really gone into too much detail about it. And I also wanted to see what you thought about like the implications of how it might go wrong for some people using it. Or
if we look at how I'm using like email as a reference for this, so obviously you can recall emails within limitations. So I believe at least for Outlook, you can recall an email as long as it is still unread in the other person's inbox. So is that the case for on iMessage? They'll say you have to have not read the message for it to be recalled.
This isn't confirmed, or it might not be true at all. I remember seeing somewhere that it said that you have 19 minutes to be able to retract it. Whether that's true or not, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'm not too sure if you send it and then it says message unsent on both ends, or if one person reads it, or if you delete it, it deletes it on your side only. No, I think it unsends it. So I'm not exactly sure what notification it'll say, if they got, if it'll let the other person know that they did receive a message anyways.
Right, can you regardless of iMessage, what other systems, well, not system, platforms, what other platforms can you recall a message? Can you recall a message on Discord? Or can you
I'm
only
not too
delete
sure
a
on
message?
Discord. I think you could delete it. I think on Facebook Messenger you might be able to, or Snapchat maybe. I don't know. I don't use social media too crazy.
No, I haven't been on, like for Snapchat, I believe that's a bit of an exemption, because if it's anything like what I remember it being, like I haven't used Snapchat in like 5 years now, I want to
Oh,
say,
it's
or a
been
bit
updated
longer.
tremendously.
But from what I remember, obviously, like the whole like premise of Snapchat was like you send a message and it's gone after opening it. So obviously at that point you are losing that message. But I don't know how it works nowadays for Snapchat. But for WhatsApp, maybe that could be a feature. But I'd have to take a look at that. But for iMessage, obviously, I haven't used an iPhone in quite some time now, so I'm not too well versed in it. But what are the concerns that you have, like if they need to be addressed?
Well, I was thinking, let's just say like I'm talking to like, or someone's talking to like their significant other or some like fling or whatever, or just some crazy relationship, and let's just say they tell them something crazy, and then that person responds with another, like, whatever response they have, and then the original sender deletes that message, so it just seems like the other person is crazy, just telling them a whole bunch of stuff, and then I could see people posting that on Twitter or on their Facebook or whatever, like, damn, look, this girl's crazy, like she just started telling me a bunch of stuff.
Okay,
Like,
right. So, but if we looked at it, like, say it was like in a more concerning like situation, like where it was more just it was like there was involvement from like a legal party, like law enforcement or something along those lines. How encrypted are iMessages in that regard? Like, if you were involved in some sort of like illegal implication, how easily
uh,
accessible is an iMessage compared to like SMS? Do you reckon?
I'm not too sure, but I think Apple has like one of the. He says they use messages in court. I think Apple has really good security when it comes to their phone. Wasn't there like the Las Vegas shooter? They couldn't access his phone and they wanted it to break into it, but Apple wouldn't allow them to, and they didn't give them they didn't do it themselves because
Oh
they said
right,
it broke
okay.
like First Amendment right here in the U.S. And that was like a mass shooting too. So I don't know. I don't think it's that easy if they needed him to break into the iPhone. I'm not exactly too sure though.
Out of curiosity, just to clarify, because obviously, like, I'm not too familiar, like, with what each amendment is. But what is the First Amendment you're referring to for this
It
example?
was either the first or the fourth, because the first one is freedom of speech, and then the fourth is or no, the fifth is you can't testify against yourself. So maybe it was the fifth. Maybe them seeing your messages would be like you testifying against yourself.
Okay, right, I can see that.
And
Um,
and
but
then but Apple either way just didn't want to they didn't want to set the precedent of them breaking into people's phones to be able for the government to do that, They didn't
right,
want
I
to.
see. So it's like it's going to vary, I suppose, from like platform to platform. But that's quite an interesting example to draw it from for that. But like, yeah, I can understand the implications you're referring to, in which it could be a bit more concerning for like, let's call it more like social situations compared to
Yeah,
like
I was
more like
thinking more like gaslighting.
yeah, stuff like that. So like someone could easily like create some sort of chat between another person and then misconstrue the actual intention of that, and then share that as a screenshot online, something like that. Which is like, it's not uncommon. That's, you do see that quite a lot. Not so much where they've changed the message to suit their agenda, I suppose, but having
They
this
only show
tool,
partial.
having this tool at your disposal could be pretty useful if that makes sense. But yeah,
But
if it,
I was gonna say on the flip side, there's been I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure you guys had mornings where you were drunk. Like, let's just say it's 3 in the morning, and you sent a drunk text to someone, and then you wake up the next morning and you're like, ah, shit, did I send that? And then you did. So hopefully this would be able to help you.
I think the difference
Steven,
there. I think the difference there though is that you're not going to sober up in 19 minutes. That's the problem.
yeah, but maybe once you hit send, you're like, ah, shit, and you know.
Yeah, at that point you just throw your phone away and then it's history, so it's fine. But I don't have that problem so much nowadays. Not so much like the
Yeah,
fact if I've
yeah,
had a drink, but more so that like I hate typing on a phone nowadays. Like I use my phone so much, but I absolutely like when I switched over from iOS to Android, I became overly reliant on iOS correcting me because I can't type for shit on an iPhone on like any phone. It's like as soon as I came over to my Pixel and like I started typing, I was like, wow, that's a lot of typos, and it hasn't corrected me on it. My thumbs are getting a bit too haphazard when it comes to like typing stuff on there. But no, it's that'd be my concern. Is if I did send something that was not going to be a particularly great message, no one would understand it anyway because I can't type very well anyway. If I could connect my
yeah.
keyboard, if I connect my actual keyboard, I'd be much better then. But like, no.
Well, I'd say maybe you send some to your girlfriend, you know, like you guys are in an argument, you send something, you're like, oh, that was a bit too harsh. Maybe you can unsend it, and it might say message deleted or unsent, but it's better to explain that than you sending a harsh message to your significant other. I mean, I don't really talk like that with my wife, but I don't, you know, sometimes some people have spur of the moment stuff.
Yeah, sometimes I'll have that where like I've gone to send her something, but it's actually like a PC building meme, and I've deleted it. And she's like, "What's that?" I was like, "Oh, you wouldn't get it." Also, I like that Joker meme. She's like,
Yeah.
you wouldn't get it." But yeah,
Sure.
that's I'm gonna have to call it quits for there though. But I think that was a pretty good closer for today. That was an absolutely gaming centric episode. I have to say there was a lot to go over there. We may have more to cover in next week's episode. It depends if we get any more news for these showcases, but we'll have to take a look. So yeah, that's going to be it for Tech Flashback episode number 13. If you enjoyed it, then please feel free to like and subscribe for the next live stream, which will be on Tuesday next week, as well as any of the videos that will be coming up very soon. And obviously, of course, make sure to check out Jerry's channel, and that is included in the link in the video description. And obviously, of course, make sure to join the PC Jack Discord if you do want to enter the PC Jack 1K subs giveaway and win an Epo Maker EP84 keyboard. All you gotta do is join the Discord and then also submit a picture of your setup, which will be featured in an upcoming video where I will be reviewing everyone's setups from Discord. And the winner will then win the keyboard. So the full details of that are on the Discord. And of course, Jerry's Discord is included as well, so make sure you head over there. He's got a really good community of people who are well into PCs in general and also PC gaming. And just join all the things. Just look in the video description and all the links are there for everything you need to know, whether it's from PC Jack or Top 3 Entertainment. It's all great stuff. And yeah, that's going to be it. So thanks for watching, and we shall see you next week. Cheerio.
Hope you guys have a good one, and shout out to Piece of Us Vlogs, Twanners, Just Chance, and if I missed you, then sorry, but you guys are all dope, and oh, and Steven Eden. You guys are all dope, and catch you guys next week.